What is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm back with another video. So, I really didn't know how to make or really kind of talk about this because of everything that's gone on in WWE the past week alone. And just my furiousness of what's been going on just this past week alone with what they did to LA Knight. Yeah. This just past Monday on Raw. I was obviously furious. Especially after the tap out to Gunther on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Then, of course, what they did on Raw, where they basically essentially wrote LA Knight off TV by having him take a tsunami from Bronson Reed after he lost to Logan Paul of all people. And so all that was going on, and I didn't make a video on it because enough already needed to be said from the SmackDown thing. So then we get to Saturday night's main event. And I had no expectations for the show. I didn't give two shits about the show. The card was terrible going in. I mean, Cody Rhodes was literally facing the NXT champion. All right. He was facing the developmental champion of NXT and was defending his title against that person. And we're supposed to believe that Cody, who's quote-unquote quarterback number one, is in a dogfight with the guy who is the NXT champion, the developmental champion. This is what you're giving us? Fucking ridiculous. So all this crap was good, which ended in a double DQ, by the way. Okay, no contest. Just ridiculous bullshit in itself. Okay. The main event, which I didn't give two shits about. I've made no bones about this. Don't like John Cena as a wrestler. You can go back to any video from 2010 when I started making YouTube videos. Never liked John Cena as a wrestler. Never have, never will. I think he's one of the most overrated wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. Period. End of story. I respect the hell out of the man. He's done a lot of great charity work. He's done, obviously, with the Make-the-Wish Foundation, all that other stuff he did. I respect him as a person. The guy is a good person. He is a hard-working person. But as a wrestler, I never liked him. Never have, never will. Never liked his wrestling. Never liked his character. I never liked any of his characters, including the Doctor of Thugonomics character. I was never a fan of his little Slim Shady character, okay, that he was doing back in the day. Never bought it. Never believed in him. Thought he was overrated. Thought most of his matches were overrated. Most of the time when you've seen a great John Cena match, it was always someone else carrying him. Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle. Most of the time, Cena was carried in most of the matches any of the matches you can think of that John Cena is most known for. Most of them, he was carried by the other guy. Okay? Shawn Michaels can make the best out of anybody. As we all know, that's why he's Mr. WrestleMania. Again, some of his best feuds, some of the best times that we most remember John Cena for being in was when he was against the guys that can make him look the best. Okay? I can never think of a match where John Cena, you know, okay, this was John Cena and the other guy. I could never say that with John Cena. He was always somebody who had to be wrestling somebody like great. Like, all the other matches that he wrestled, he did 5 moves. He would bury the guy, the Nexus thing. We all remember that, how he buried Nexus. I mean, that's the stuff we remember. We remember the whole Super Cena bullshit. Okay? So, never liked John Cena, okay, as a wrestler. I made that clear this year even. But the thing is with John Cena, okay, in this Gunther match, Triple H, they're booing the fuck out of him, okay, at this event, okay? Not so much Gunther, though there was a riot, I guess, when he was trying to go to the bus or whatever. There were people that were going right at Gunther. Which, by the way, wrestling fans, the young generation. By the way, young generation of wrestling fans, you doing that actually just fuels Gunther. Hate to break that to you, but in the territory days when that shit happened, that was actually great heat for the heel. So that was not really a good thing to do. But I'm sure a lot of these young wrestling fans don't get that. Because they've never actually seen it. Probably. But Triple H was mostly the guy who got most of the heat for this match. What did I think of the John Cena Gunther match? Mid. Nothing special. All the stupid finishing moves that they were doing over and over again. Was totally not interested in that. But then again, that's just modern wrestling now, is where everybody has to do multiple fucking finishing moves to justify the match being great, which is so fucking dumb, by the way. I hate that. I hate it. I mean, I've talked about this already, but I hate multiple finishing move matches. I just hate it. It's overdone. It's not needed. If you go back 20 years, some of the most classic wrestling matches in WWE history had one finishing move, and that was the finishing, and that was the finish of the match. Okay? There were counters to finishing moves, but they would never actually do it. Okay? Shawn Michaels versus WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin WrestleMania 14. I know it wasn't as great as it could have been because Michaels had the back injury, but go watch that match. Go watch that match. That is how a wrestling match should be. Okay? Tuning up the band for Sweet Chen music. Tuning up the band, right? Freaking Austin ducks it. Tries to go for the stunner, and then Michaels gets out of it, and then tries to go for another kick. Michaels reverses it, spins him, kick, stunner. 1, 2, 3, match over. One finishing move, finish. All right? That is how a match should be. That is how a match should be. Not this bullshit 5 finishing moves every fucking goddamn time. Terrible. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of every fucking match having to be 5 finishing moves, 6 finishing moves. It's ridiculous. It's fucking getting ridiculous. Enough with that garbage. Okay? For now on, I'm just going to say every match that has multiple finishing moves, matches going forward, now I'm just going to say it's garbage because I fucking have had it. I have had it with every fucking match having 5 finishing moves to fucking get an ending. Okay? I've had it. I'm done with it. This started really with Vince. This is not just a Triple H thing. Vince started doing this too. It's just getting ridiculous now. But I just had it. So, didn't care for this match at all. And you know, again, Triple H talks about the time-honored tradition. The time-honored tradition, you go out on your back or whatever. John Cena tapped out. He goes out essentially on his back, but he tapped out. I don't care that John Cena tapped out. Sorry. Again, I didn't like John Cena as a wrestler, so him tapping out didn't matter to me. It didn't. What pissed me off is that LA Knight had to tap out. Now, the only positive out of this is that at least LA Knight, who was sacrificed to Gunther for this tap out bullshit, is that Cena ended up tapping out. But here's the thing. Cena, with that smirk as he tapped out, tells me that this was a Triple H decision. Tells me that he didn't want to do this. He didn't. This was Triple H. There are a bunch of people I've seen on YouTube that are saying that, oh, well, it's the producer that makes the decision. Fuck no, it isn't. The producer's just the one that puts the match to fucking together for both the wrestlers. All right, that doesn't mean that they decide who's going to win and who's going to lose and how are they going to win by. Okay? That's all determined by the booker, who is Triple H in this equation. Okay? Triple H made the goddamn decision for John Cena to tap out. Okay? That is what happened here. John Cena tapped out because Triple H made that decision. Now, I don't understand why Triple H is so fucking obsessed with this guy. And I'm talking about Gunther right now. Because again, he's not that good. I mean, he's a good wrestler, but this whole idea that he's some megastar, he's not. He hasn't had, maybe he's had one 5-star match, which again, 5-star matches don't matter. All right, that's just Dave Meltzer's obsession over the star rating of a match, which again does not matter because the wrestling business isn't in the business for how great a match is. They're in the business for how much money you can draw from it. Okay, that's the business of wrestling. Okay, not these fucking 5-star matches that you want to have every goddamn day. Okay? But I wouldn't even say Gunther. I mean, what 5-star matches he had? Like, this guy, okay, one of the big YouTubers, Mr. Sainty Zap, who has all these hot takes. I seen his fucking damn video on, when he was talking about how LA Knight being John Cena's last opponent wouldn't have made sense because, you need a heel to be the one to beat Cena or whatever because it would create the heat. Why? Gunther, am I supposed to believe that somebody who literally, by the way, the fans pointed it out right before the match, by the way, against Cena, is a guy who tapped out like a little bitch to Jay fucking Uso at WrestleMania this past year, okay? To his own finishing move, no less. He tapped out like a little bitch, all right? He did. I mean, that's facts, okay? Yeah, I mean, it was booked that way, but still, he tapped. He tapped immediately when it was applied. Okay, to Jey Uso, who Jey Uso, by the way, is now a tag team wrestler again. Okay? That is the man who Gunther tapped out to. And now we're supposed to believe that this guy who hasn't tapped out since 2005 or 2004, sorry. It would have been 2004. Yes, it would have been 2004. John Cena has not tapped out since 2004 when he tapped out to Kurt Angle in the triple threat with Big Show. That was the last time he tapped out. No Way Out 2004. No Way Out 2004. Kurt Angle, Big Show, John Cena. The winner of that match got the right to face the WWE Champion at WrestleMania 20, which ended up being Eddie Guerrero. Okay? Kurt Angle made John Cena tap out. That was the last time Cena tapped out in a match. Okay? I remember it like it was yesterday. Why? Because I watched it live on pay-per-view. I remember Eddie Guerrero winning the WWE Championship right afterwards, because that was the main event. That was the last time John Cena tapped out. 2004. He also tapped out. He tapped out to Kurt Angle before that too. One time before that, and he also tapped out to Chris Jericho, and he also tapped out to Chris Benoit. Yes, he was a real person. To all you meme weirdos out there about that. I remember the one he tapped out with Benoit. That was the one on SmackDown where it was after the Royal Battle, the Thanksgiving Royal Battle. He tapped out to Chris Benoit in the Battle Royale. The Thanksgiving Battle Royale ended in a double winner. Like Cena and Benoit both like hit the floor at the same time or whatever. So because of that, the next week they had a match to decide who would be the number one contender against Brock Lesnar's WWE Championship, which Benoit won that by tap out. He made Cena tap out. So even that, I remember that one too. That was in 2003. Like, I remember this shit. So, point being is this dude hasn't tapped out for a long time, okay? But it's not like he hadn't tapped out before, okay? It's not like he hadn't tapped out before. It's just that he hadn't tapped out since he became the Chain Gang C Nation guy or whatever. You know, he was a doctor of thugonomics when he tapped out. So a lot of people don't count it, but it counts. Okay, he tapped out before. So it was possible for Cena to tap out. Okay, it was believable for him to tap out. The person who was more shocking to tap out was The Undertaker. Because The Undertaker hadn't tapped out before. Okay? He tapped out controversially to Kurt Angle when he was the American Badass. But that was a draw because there was a pinfall as well. But then the whole Brock Lesnar thing happened. That was more controversial. Cena tapping out isn't that controversial. But the way they did it is what was more controversial. Because Gunther, being the guy who gets to do it, is the thing, because again, they're building Gunther up as this guy who can be like Brock Lesnar credibility. How this is going to help Gunther. He's already been world champion 2 times. That's the thing. He's been world champion 2 times. He's been world champion 2 times already. What is this going to do for him? Like, he's going to go up against Brock. This is going to make him better than Brock Lesnar. Like, this is going to make, like, and again, this is what I'm saying. Like, he hasn't had that many 5-star matches, if any, like this one YouTuber said. It's like, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? He's 38 years old. All right, everyone puts up all LA Knights 43 or whatever, but like, yet we see Gunther, who's 38. He's been world champion. He doesn't sell merch. Like, I don't recall that many merchandise of Gunther. Like, I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. It's like, what merchandise does Gunther sell? Like, are we in the business for making money? Because Gunther isn't even among the top 10 top sellers for merchandise. He doesn't sell merch, okay? But yet he's being presented as a guy who can beat everybody. You know, even though he tapped out like a little bitch to Jey Uso, who's now a tag team wrestler, okay? It's like, are we supposed to believe that Jey Uso can tap this guy out, but John Cena can't tap this guy out? CM Punk can't tap this guy out. Fucking Goldberg can't beat this guy. Like, what? Like that's like, again, Jey Uso made this guy tap out this year, and people in that stadium or in that arena, again, right before the match started with him and John Cena, they literally started chanting, "You tapped out, you tapped out," to remind Gunther that he tapped out to Jey Uso. Okay? To remind everybody that he tapped out. So again, how is this guy credible to go up against Goldberg? Or I'm sorry, not Goldberg. How is this guy credible to go up against Brock Lesnar, who is supposedly now going to be his last opponent as well? Apparently now Gunther is going to be Mr. Retirement. He's going to retire all the wrestlers. Okay? He's going to retire all the wrestlers from the past time. Like, why? Like, what does he have that makes him so much better than anybody else on that roster right now? Why? Because he's a really good wrestler? I'm not denying that Gunther isn't a good wrestler. I said he's a good wrestler. Okay? He comes from a collegiate background, which is also a plus. I did wrestling in high school myself, so I understand how wrestling works, how the wrestling before pro wrestling works. Okay? But pro wrestling isn't just about wrestling. It's so weird because we always usually bring up, especially for me, we always bring up that they have to be a good wrestler. They have to be a great wrestler. And that's true, you know, they have to be. But with Gunther, it's the opposite. Gunther is a good wrestler, but he's not good on the mic. He doesn't have charisma. He doesn't have mic skills. He's not good. He's not good at that. It's so weird because when I usually bring these things up, it's usually the opposite. It's usually more about the wrestling than the charisma. You know, it's usually, you know, in the case of like other guys, it's they have the mic, but they don't have the wrestling ability. You know, Miz is not a good wrestler, but he's a good talker. He can fucking talk to a fucking, till the cows come home, you know, when he's on the mic. But as a wrestler, he's very pedestrian. As a wrestler, he's never produced a 5-star match. Okay. But that's what we're dealing with. Gunther is essentially the reverse version of The Miz. He is the reverse version of The Miz. Great wrestler, not great on the mic, not great at charisma. It's so weird that I actually had to bring up a statistic like that because I never would have thought I'd have to compare The Miz to Gunther. But that is literally, Gunther is the reverse version of The Miz. He is the reverse version of The Miz. Now, what do I think about Triple H and the booking? Well, I don't like the booking, obviously, from what they did to LA Knight, which still I don't know why the frig he doesn't want to push LA Knight, other than the stupid age logic, which again doesn't make logical sense. The dude is not injury prone. And also, I'm going to say, well, he's not a young guy. And I'm like, well, no shit, he's not a young guy, but he's not been in WWE that long. It's not like Gunther's a freaking young guy. It's not like Jey Uso's a young guy. Jey Uso was with the company for over 10 years before they decided to give him the world title. And now he's back to being a goddamn tag team. Like, holy shit. They put him back in the damn tag team division. If you want to talk about epic fail, that's epic fail to monumental proportions. To basically say, oh, well, I've been on a losing streak, so because of that, I'm going back to tag team division. Yeet. You know, like, what the fuck is that? You want to talk about epic fail? That's an epic fail right there. You know, I don't get it. I don't get what he sees in him. But I don't get what Triple H's creative plans are. Triple H just doesn't seem to... Well, then I can't say that much. So many fans were chanting that they want Vince back. And I can't say that because Vince's booking was absolutely atrocious the past 15 years. So no, I do not want Vince McMahon back. But at the same time, I don't want Triple H booking anymore. I don't. Because what I have seen and what, you know, I mean, I'm going to say right now, the whole 2025 year has been wasted. Triple H wasted an entire year. I'm going to say that right now. He wasted an entire year. So, I'm sorry. I like Triple H. I'm not a hater of Triple H as a wrestler. Like, I like Triple H. I liked his stuff in DX. You know, some of the stuff he did towards the end of his career, with the, you know, I mean, like his end of his full-time run, not his part-time run. You know, towards the end of the Ruthless Aggression era into the Attitude era, or not Attitude, what the fuck am I saying? Into the PG era, I thought was some good work. But as a booker, I can't believe it anymore. I can't. There's just something about what he's doing now, and I don't know what it is. Like, he just only wants to go with his guys. And if you're not part of that, he doesn't care what the fans think. You know, the whole time-honored tradition, again, you know, it's such a generic answer. He knows that. But I don't know, I can't anymore. The grin he made at the end when he hugged Cena or whatever, that just told me everything I need to know, that he did not care what the fans wanted. He only cares what he thinks is going to work and not what fans are looking for. And that's just what I got to say about it. I can't feel it anymore, man. I can't. I think Triple H needs to step aside as the head booker. I don't know who you could give the batons to, because I don't think you should go back to Vince McMahon. I'm not going to just ignore what Vince did the past 15 years. He clearly was not good as a booker. I think you got to... I don't know who you give it to. I don't know who you give the booker to. Some people will say, well, what about Shawn Michaels? No, Shawn Michaels and Triple H are friends. Like, I can't trust that Shawn Michaels won't do the same stuff that Triple H does. I can't. I don't know who you give the batons to. Maybe Bryan. I mean, Rock's personal writer. He was a writer from the Attitude Era. I know he's someone kind of involved now with it. Maybe you give it to him. I don't know if he's that experienced with booking. I know he's a good writer, but I don't know if he's necessarily experienced with actually booking. But I don't know who you give the batons to if you decide to part ways with Triple H, which I don't think TKO is doing, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, who to give it to. I just don't know, man. I don't know who you give the reins to at this point. But, you know... And no, I don't think The Rock should get it either. I do, The Rock, he screwed up big time with the whole trying to get rid of Cody out of the main event. So no, I wouldn't give it to The Rock either. Not that I think The Rock has any time for it, because I mean he's focused on movies, making movies. But if they actually wanted to get The Rock involved with it, I think that'd be a disaster waiting to happen. As well. I don't know. I don't know who you give the reins to. I don't know who's experienced enough to get it. I don't want to single anybody out, but I just, the way the whole 2025 year has gone, it's just not gone right. Just so many mismanaged stuff, and they really wasted a year for everybody, really. For this Cena retirement thing, which heel turn, then face turn, and all this bullshit that was going on. Just nothing. And I don't want to see another retirement tour like this. I know somebody would talk about Chris Jericho is going to come back and have a retirement tour as well. Like, fuck no. I'm teched out with these retirement tours. Don't waste another year. No more retirement tours. No more this whole... I really don't do this with Randy Orton either, because Randy Orton's going to be retiring at some point too. Don't do that with Randy Orton either. Like, no, fucking don't do that shit anymore. Just have him announce his retirement like everyone else. Don't waste an entire wrestling year for this bullshit when you don't even know what you're fucking doing. Because obviously the plans were changed multiple times for this, whole Cena retirement tour. But yeah, I don't really much to say. This is just basically going rant about everything that's been going on this past week. I'm out. I'm the Ultimate Goku. Make sure to comment, rate. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, because a lot of you new viewers haven't subscribed, so make sure to subscribe. I'm out. I'm the Ultimate Goku. I'm out of it. Peace.